I'm Adam Catterall. This is Catterall's Corner on Sporf. We are back because for the first time in a long time, the UFC are putting together back-to-back numbered events. Last week was UFC 267. This week is UFC 268 from Madison Square Garden in New York. This is your preview for UFC 268. Right. The main event at UFC 268 is an absolute firecracker. Of course, it's a rematch from what we saw in December of 2019, and I can't believe it's taken this long to get these two guys back in the octagon once again. The champ, Kamaru Usman, reigning supreme after a tremendous 2021 so far, is going back in once again with Colby Covington. If you remember back in December of 2019, they gave us one of the best fights the UFC have ever put on, especially in this division. It was back and forth, probably 2 rounds apiece going into the final round until Kamaru Usman got the job done and stopped Covington. Loads of rumours came out off the back of that fight that he broke his jaw in the bout itself. Covington denies this. I'm looking forward to looking into his eyes and maybe trying to get the truth out of that. Anyway, these guys have been on different journeys in that 2-year period. Kamaru Usman has been enforced to change camps. He's now working with Trevor Whitman, and it seems that the champ is getting even better. We all knew that he was a supreme wrestler once upon a time. He still is, but now he's got hands. He's knocking dudes out. His former teammate and Gilbert Burns went over earlier on this year, and then he became the first guy to knock out Jorge Masvidal. Nobody does that. Kamaru Usman did, and he ends up now being in a real strong position to being classed as the fighter of 2021, if of course he can get the job done against Colby Covington. For everybody out there that is a big UFC fan, you'll look around this welterweight division, you'll see the top contenders, and the guy that you will pick out as probably the one that could run Kamaru Usman the closest is indeed this guy, Colby Covington. He proved that in the first fight. Has he made the improvements to get the job done in this second fight? He's adamant that he has done, which sets us up for an absolute classic barn burner. And what a venue to put this barn burner in. The main event of UFC 268 going down in the main theatre at the iconic Madison Square Garden. It just does not get better than that. This is the best of the best. The cherry on top of the cake. Now, the co-main event at UFC 268 is also a rematch. We all remember that iconic head kick knockout. Rose Namajunas landing it sweet right on the temple of Weili Zhang. Oh my days, it was a head kick that sent reverberations around the world, and of course made Rose Namajunas a 2-time champion. She goes into a very elite pot of people that have managed to do that in the UFC. Well, Weili wants her revenge. She was adamant that she wasn't knocked out. Trust me, she was. She was asleep on the canvas. But she was adamant that she wasn't, and therefore she gets her opportunity for retribution. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out, because these girls have gone straight back in with each other off the back of that fight. We haven't really got a gauge of whether they've made improvements coming into this fight or what have you, or whether there's going to be a different outcome this time around. Rose Namajunas has always been one of those characters that has got the ability. Sensational when it comes to technical ability. Her biggest flaw has been what's been going on between her ears. Does she believe in herself? Does she believe that she's the best in the world? And we all saw in the build-up to the Weili fight, her talking to herself. In the Bruce Buffer introductions, she kept screaming at the top of her voice, "I am the best. I am the best." And it turns out that she is the best in this particular division because she got the job done on that night. Does Weili, though, believe that she is the best? Or will all those memories come flooding back from that head kick knockout that obviously she was on the wrong end of? It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be interesting to see what happens off the back end of this fight and where the division and the direction that it goes in, because the runners and riders and contenders here, they're few and far between. These two most certainly are the very, very best that we've got at this weight, and I think they're going to deliver once again. It might go a little bit longer this time because I think Weili will be cagey and fully aware of what might come back her way, but I still see some type of finish somewhere. These girls are killers, elite level strikers, elite level grapplers. Somebody isn't seeing that final bell. Now you would think with a fantastic main event for the welterweight title and for another world title being on the line in the co-main event, that's where all your attention should be. Well, just hold your horses for a second because we've got a people's main event here, ladies and gentlemen, the lightweight division. We've got Justin Gaethje taking on Michael Chandler, two men that have been at the top of the tree in other organisations and two men that have also fought recently for UFC gold. They've come up short against elite level opposition. So what do the UFC do? Well, let's chuck these two lunatics into a cage together at Madison Square Garden and see what happens, because we just might get the #1 contender coming out of this fight following the title fight coming up in December between the champion Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier. Matchup wise, oh my days, this is the fans' dream fight. Two guys with elite level wrestling background that don't use their elite level wrestling background. They fancy themselves as strikers. Why? Because they've both got incredible power in their hands as well. This is going to be carnage. I'm telling you now, as soon as Bruce Buffer finishes those announcements and the referee shouts fight, this will be a fight. We're not talking about high level, elite level chess where these two are feeling each other out, they're going at each other. In fact, you could probably just put a phone box in the middle of this octagon and they'll have a scrap in there. It will be brilliant. There will be blood, there will be guts, there will be violence from start to finish. Will there be a finish is the big question, because they're both very durable guys and they're both full of pride to the extent where neither will want to go out. I'm still going to edge towards some type of finish, and I've got a funny feeling that Justin Gaethje is the man to be able to do it. And the reason why I'm going with Gaethje is because he's been there, done it, and got the t-shirt in the UFC. The only thing he's not done is claimed UFC gold. I just think Chandler might be at the wrong end of his career to get this job done. He'll be competitive, the fight will be competitive, the fight will be brilliant, and both of these guys will walk away with some type of bonus, in my opinion. This is the one to keep an eye on. So there you have it, an absolutely stacked card. Main event, co-main event, rematches for titles, and of course that people's main event where you're just gonna lock two guys in a cage and there's gonna be violence everywhere between Gaethje and Chandler. Don't forget to look out for Ian Garry and Alex Pereira as well, making their UFC debuts. It's going to be absolutely tremendous going down in New York City at Madison Square Garden. Make sure you come back next week for the full review here on Sporf of UFC 268 with me, Adam Catterall.